Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Fall of Night, written by Jonathan Maberry. Here's the book. It's book 2 in the Dead of Night series. It's a zombie horror novel. I enjoyed this book as much as book 1. I enjoy them both very much. For zombie horror novels, it's the best zombie horror novel I've read this series. I've read a couple, but I love this one so much, and it makes me want to read everything this author's written. And as I was reading this, I got the feeling that there was a couple of characters there that may have books of their own, and my assumption was right. They just seemed to be introduced in this book in a certain way that made me think these characters had books of their own out there. So I want to read those series as well. Reading this series by this author makes me want to read everything this author's written. This book starts out immediately after the end of book 1. We have main characters Des and Billy. They're still sheltering in the school, from the big storm that happened in the first book. Also the plague going on, all the zombies running around. So they're there with other survivors. A lot of children there, a lot of adults from the whole county. So they're trying to barricade themselves still in this school to try to survive, try to stop zombies getting in, trying to stop the bad weather, and also wondering if the military in the area are still trying to kill them or protect them. So they've got all those questions going on and all those things running on in their minds. So it's a very stressful situation for them, and you really feel that in the first part of this story. And this whole story just seems written so well. What the characters are feeling and thinking, what they're sensing, everything is written so clearly in this book, and you get a true sense of what's going on. That's a good sign of a great writer, in my opinion. Goat, who's the cameraman and the friend of Billy Trout. We had a cliffhanger with Goat in book 1. That cliffhanger continues directly from when it ended in the first book. He comes face to face with true horror. He comes face to face with Homer Gibbon, the first person to be infected with this virus, appears at a Starbucks where Goat thinks he's safe. It's out of the quarantine zone. He thinks he's safe. Homer Gibbon, who's infected with this virus, he escapes from the quarantine zone. So, unknown to all the military and the government and all the officials, there are people who are infected that can still drive and think. So he's almost acting like a human being, normal person, even though he's infected. Even though he has this virus, Homer Gibbon can drive and plot and plan and think. He goes to this Starbucks, he kills a lot of people, and he abducts Goat. And that starts this whole story arc for Goat in book 2. And in many ways, the story arc for Goat is the strongest in the book. I really liked this part of the story. I liked interactions between Homer Gibbon and Goat. I liked to see what Goat goes through and to see things through his eyes. And you get a sense of who Homer Gibbon is as well, because in this story arc, Homer Gibbon is explored and developed more than in book 1. We get his motives about what he's doing and how he thinks of himself, because he thinks of himself in a certain way in this story. He knows he's infected with a virus, but he thinks it's because of a certain reason, and he thinks that reason is righteous, that he's doing the right thing, about his plans in this story. So I really like that in this story. We've got a villain who really thinks he's doing the right thing, even though what he's doing is putting the whole world in jeopardy. And what this book does as well, it expands the whole story, expands the whole world the author created in the first book. Because the quarantine zone from the first book gets breached. So immediately it has to expand, because we have people getting out of the quarantine zone. So where's the virus going to go to next? And what is the government going to do? What's the military going to do? What's going to happen? How are they going to stop this contagion from spreading? So as the story spreads, we get introduced to more characters in the government and the military, also to some scientists, and we find out about some secret labs and secret work going on as well. So the story expands in many directions, and I like that. And I'm wondering if book 3, because there is a third book in this series, I'm wondering if book 3 will expand it even more. And I just enjoyed the other characters coming into this story. because the characters in the military and the government, they've got different points of view, and they want different things, and they want to treat what's going on in different ways. They've got different ideas on how to stop this contagion, and they all think they're doing the right thing. They all think what they're thinking of doing is the right thing, and they all encourage the president in different ways to solve this problem by doing different things. So there's a lot of fear and confusion in some of these characters through the story. A lot of people think their way is the only way. A lot of people vying for power, it seems, as well, in what's going on. So they're great elements in this story, and it seems to just build out this story in a really great way by bringing in different characters with different motivations and different perspectives and viewpoints. What we also find out in this book is the prison doctor from the first story, the one who started this whole thing. People are trying to track him down. So the government and military are trying to track this guy down because they want to get his research. They need his research. They need him to help them stop this virus from spreading. They do track him down, but he's already dead. That opens up a whole different storyline in this story, because they find out that this guy, this prison doctor, gave all his research to somebody else. So they've got to track down this research. And they think that by tracking down this research, they can stop the contagion from spreading. That opens up other things going on in this book, other dangers for some of our heroes. It's a really good addition to this story, and it just brings other characters into the story as well. And one of the characters it brings in, I found out, has a book series of his own by the same author. So now I want to read that series as well. And then towards the end, another character pops up, and I wondered what was going on with this character. I thought, is this character towards the end just going to be a main character in book 3? We're getting an intro to him now in book 2, and in book 3 we'll get more of him. But no, it just turns out that this other character that pops up towards the end has a book series of his own as well by the same author. So now I've got 2 new series I want to read by the same author. And this book is just a great advertisement for all the works this author has written, in my opinion, because it's such a great series and encourages you to read everything that this author has written. Goat. I want to mention Goat. Now, he's the cameraman we met in book 1 and the friend of Billy Trout. In book 2, he's given more life, I think. He's given his very own storyline. And for me, he was probably the standout character in this story. I really like this character. He shows a lot of courage. He's put in a situation that's very dangerous. It could go either way at any time. It could explode on his face and he could be killed. It could go okay and he could survive. He's never sure. But he always knows he's in danger, and the way he reacts in the story, the author's written the way he reacts, the way he contains himself, the way he interacts with his abductor very well in this story. It's written so well and seems so well thought out, and I just felt all his emotions, all his fear, everything going on with Goat. It comes through so clearly in this story. Homer Gibbon is another great character, and I love the fact that he's fleshed out in more detail in this book. We get his motivations more. We get the fact that he thinks he's doing the right thing, and we get to see his reasons for what he's doing. And we see how well he plans and well he plots in this story, and I like that about this character. And it's another character that seems very much thought out and well plotted in this story. Everything about him feels real, even though he's a zombie. Everything about what he does feels real. His motivations and actions seem consistent with who he is. And I just love the fact that this character is given his really own in-depth storyline with Goat, who is a standout character. So for me, these 2 characters are the best in this story. The other character I want to mention is Tom Amura. Now, he's the character that popped up at the end. But he really hooked me and engaged me straight away. Just the way he's introduced into the story and the way he's described, and a few of the things he does in those last couple of chapters in this book. For some reason, it hooked me onto this character, and I want to read his series. He seems a very strong character, and you get a sense about who he is immediately from those few chapters at the end of this book. So I'm really fascinated with this character, and I want to learn more about him. Even though the feel of this book is different to book 1, it's still a great zombie horror novel, but it's not as constricted to one area as book 1. So in book 1, it was very constricted to Stephens County and very, small region of Stephens County, but in book 2, the whole storyline just expands that a lot. So even though we're expanded a lot, and the feel of the chapters, the very short chapters in this book 1 were longer chapters, book 2 very short chapters, and they chop and change each chapter to a different character, but that just brings a real good sense of urgency in this book, and a bit of panic as well from the characters. And I love that in this story, and it made this story even more enjoyable. I rate it a 4 out of 5. This series is very strong. It's a great zombie horror series, and I'm so glad that I discovered it, even though it's been around for quite a while. I've just recently discovered it, and I'm so glad I did, because I've enjoyed the first 2 books so far. There is a 3rd book in the series that I want to get a hold of, and I'm expecting that this 3rd book will be just as good. On my channel, I do review other horror novels. If you don't want to miss out on those videos, check out my channel and subscribe. There's also a horror playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.